Zimbabwe holds a presidential election runoff. The world calls it a sham. Can anyone stop Robert Mugabe's violent grip on power? Next on Global Pulse. Today on Global Pulse, we look at how international media outlets covered the presidential election in Zimbabwe. Zimbabwe's presidential runoff election becomes an international farce after challenger Morgan Tsvangirai drops from the race.
We will no longer participate in this violent, illegitimate sham of an election process.
Al Jazeera, ABC News, and the BBC reported on the brutality of Robert Mugabe's ZANU-PF government crushing the opposition.
These are some of Robert Mugabe's men, armed and dangerous. Yesterday their task was to stop an opposition rally. Here's how they did it.
The opposition has buried nearly 90 of its members. The man who wore this shirt was dragged from his home, shot and stabbed repeatedly. This boy, just 4, was beaten, and his mother, an opposition supporter, kidnapped.
Desperate and frightened, hundreds of supporters of Zimbabwe's main opposition party huddled together at the South African embassy in Harare. They're seeking refuge from the violence that continues to grip their country in the lead-up to Friday's presidential runoff.
I don't know where is my family right now. Here I'm alone. My wife, I don't know where is my wife, my kids.
Mugabe attempted to silence the media, but bloggers stayed beyond his reach. A blog by the political action group Welle used Google Earth to map the violence and Flickr to reveal its horror. Despite condemnation, Robert Mugabe remained defiant, calling Tsvangirai a coward, as reported by Al Jazeera.
These are voters. They will do you no harm, political harm perhaps, yes, when they vote against you.
Mugabe tried to portray Tsvangirai as a puppet of the West, using this political spot on Zimbabwean television.
The Losers Club. We can defeat them one and all.
Mugabe picked up meager support from Zimbabwe's government-controlled media and some news outlets in neighboring countries. Zimbabweans ignore runoff boycott, read Zimbabwe's The Chronicle. Namibia's New Era newspaper vowed, Zimbabwe won't be a colony again. The Post, in the Republic of Cameroon, demanded the BBC stop fanning flames of war in Zimbabwe. But the media in neighboring South Africa depicted Mugabe as an election bully. SA condemns Zim brutality for first time, read a headline in The Star, one of the nation's leading newspapers. Zimbabweans coerced into voting, said Johannesburg's online Sunday Times. However, Mugabe's propaganda war gained a powerful voice in China's state-run CCTV coverage of a major meeting of African leaders.
AU Commission Chairperson Zhang Ping said Africa should shoulder its responsibilities and help Zimbabwe to overcome its election difficulties.
Al Jazeera laid out Mugabe's challenge to democracy in Africa in more stark terms.
This is the single greatest challenge to regional stability in Southern Africa, not only because of its terrible humanitarian and security consequences, but also because of the dangerous political precedent it sets. This is a moment of truth for regional leaders.
But Robert Mugabe won again. AU leaders rebuked him and then went home. He walked in the president of Zimbabwe and left, still the president of Zimbabwe. For Global Pulse, this is Erin Coker.
This program is brought to you by Link TV for educational and non-commercial use only. Link TV is the only US network dedicated to global and national news, uncompromising documentaries, and diverse cultural programs. Programs which connect you to the world.